Every doctor has a minimum of 19 years of education, $189,000 spent to procure it. Most doctors work on average 12 hours a day and 59.6 hours per week. A hospitalist walks 5 miles a day. They will see between 40,000 and 250,000 patients in their career, spending 5.9 hours documenting their visits. So needless to say, doctors are tired. These are their stories.
Welcome back to Tired Doctors Talking. Good heavens, I am a tired doctor and I'm trying to talk. A podcast with lovely ladies, Marguerite and Monique, two medical doctors with melanin discussing morbidity, mortality when we discuss it.
When we discuss it, that is true. I guess that's what we're doing now, right?
Yes, that is what we're doing now. How are you doing, Monique?
I'm good. I think the last time I was in a much more like kind of darkish, bitterish place about all this.
Mhm.
But a few weeks have passed, the sun is shining, things are in different spots. And I'm doing okay. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm not in a great spot right now. Things are hard. Plus, like the smoke from the fires has finally kind of clouded our skies, so the sky's just kind of
Mm,
orange. And
I'm not gonna lie, I do not miss that part of living in Southern California. Well, you're Central California, but California in general, um, which is a great state. I love it, and I would move back in a hot second because I'm a simple woman. I have a simple dream of owning a house with a lemon
Mhm.
tree.
Oh
I
yeah,
want
yeah,
that. I want a
yeah.
lemon tree. I want for when you come over and I'm like outside, I'm picking a lemon, and you like walk in. I'm like, oh hi! I was just gonna make some lemon risotto. Like I'm a very simple slash Ina Garner wannabe type of person.
I will have to say that it is blackberry season here, so picking all of
Oh,
our blackberries has been delightful. Um,
I'm gonna make a blackberry pie in 2 weekends from now.
mm.
For a specific time frame, but that's because I'm working next weekend.
I understand that.
Very specific time frame. Yes, that's the thing. I will say this. I thoroughly miss Southern California or California in general produce. The
Mhm.
farmers markets. If you get a chance to go to the Redlands, California farmers market, it is a
Mhm.
place that I've spent many a Thursday night, but it's just amazing fruits and vegetables. And there's a guy making kettle corn in the corner. I had never
Mhm.
had kettle corn before that, believe it or not. It's like fresh kettle corn, and then there's some like stand making like fresh blueberry lemonade that's not overly sweet. It's like got a
Mhm.
nice tart to it, and it's just and it's like that hot desert night heat,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
I have a thing for like hot nights. Like I'm an island girl through and through. I'm genetically prone to enjoy like hot, sticky nights.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, it's just great. And then I made the mistake of going to a farmer's market in Massachusetts.
Oh, no.
Lord, these
Yeah.
people with their very sad strawberries. They're so small and hard, and they
Yeah, they're
taste like sadness berries in your mouth. And they're like, "Oh, they're locally grown." And you're like, "On purpose? Or did they just find these
on the
in their house,
ground.
in their ground, in their yard and say, 'Oh, I'll go to the market.'" They didn't put any effort into cultivating these things, you
The
know,
sad thing is they probably did. That's the
they
sadness
probably
of
did.
it.
They probably did. I may lose a bit of my she hippie points with this statement, but I'm not against all GMOs. Like, have you seen what Jesus figs looks like? Like figs and apples from back in Jesus days were so
Oh, yeah,
hard and
yeah.
small,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And and
Mhm,
and somebody said, "This is not good." And
mhm,
they bred another apple to it to
mhm,
make it and then they bred another one. I mean, like, we don't, you don't want to put, like lizard genome into my apple, right?
Right.
But I don't want a Jesus apple. And it's the same thing. I feel like these are like the original strawberries. It's like the first strawberry known to man. They still had that seed, and they didn't improve on it at all. They could have. I mean,
Yeah.
there was a man named Mendel, you know,
Yes,
and
he
he
did
took a green pea
genetics.
and a yellow
Yeah.
pea, and he said, "Hey, let's do something with these peas." They could have
Mhm.
tried that one time with this Boston strawberry, but they didn't. They served me the original strawberry, and
It's
it was sad.
the thing is, buddy,
Sad.
they may not have that may have been the strawberry they tried. That may have been the best strawberry after all of the
So sad.
crosses.
That's so sad.
It
There is a
is sad.
place that grows the most amazing, like, strawberries and oranges, a little farm, and I'm in no way, like, paid by these people at all. I'm just, like, reminiscing on my love of Southern California produce, called San Jacinto Farms in
Mhm.
Southern California, and, when my now husband brought me there, it was, like, their original farm store, so we'd have to
Mhm.
drive way out to the farm itself, and then they started
Right.
opening up farm stores a little closer to the hospital, and, I mean, they have a calendar that tells you, like, when is the best week of the year for this specific
Yes.
produce, and you go and, like, we had people come out to the farmer's market for our wedding, and, when I say my family bought the entire, like, Stan's orange juice supply, I'm not I'm not exaggerating. Like, my mother drank some orange juice and was like, "Oh, I need these," and then just bought all of the orange juice these people brought with them, and then, like,
Wow.
proceeded to give them out to my cousins and aunts and, like, and they were like, "Oh, other people want some." I was like, but I'm gonna buy them all." Like, yeah, and they do just amazing fruits and vegetables, and,
Um, the image is
um,
enhanced by the fact that I actually know your mother, so I can actually see her.
just just being like, "No, this is what I'm doing," and,
Yeah.
like, you don't argue with her.
No, you really don't.
You don't did I ever tell you the wig story with her and Aisha?
No.
Okay, that look on your face. So, I left my mother came to, Atlanta for I forgot what reason it was, but she was down there with me. I
Mhm.
think maybe it was close to graduation, or I honestly don't remember why she was down there with me. Um, but I had to run some kind of errand, and she kept asking for me to take her because Atlanta, black hair mecca. She
Yes.
kept asking for me to take her to a wig shop.
Mhm.
And I was like, we'll go. This is that, we'll go. But you're also from New York. There's no shortage of wig shops there.
No.
You know, are you sure you just don't want to? Because to transport a wig properly is a little bit a little bit of work, right?
Yes.
You don't
Yes.
want to just like smash it up and put it in your
Right, you can't
suitcase.
just throw it in a bag, yeah.
Right. So I was like, "You sure you don't wanna just go back to New York?" So it was this point of discussion. So I, like, leave with Aisha, and she's like, "Well, what are we gonna do?" And I was like, "I don't know, but whatever you do, don't take her wig shopping. I will take her." Right? I was like, "She's gonna ask
Uh-huh.
you to go wig shopping.
Uh-huh.
Say no." Right? She's like,
Yes.
"Okay."
We can see where this
And
is going.
yeah, so then I went about, then I called them on my cell phone, and I was like, "Hey, where can I find," and Aisha's like, we'll be back at the house pretty soon." I was like, "Where are you?" She's like, we're at the wig shop." I was like, "You're where?" She's like, "We're at the wig shop." And I was like, "Why are you at the wig shop?" She's like, "'Cause when you left, she turned to me and said, 'Aisha, take me to the wig shop.'"
And you do not argue with her.
I was like, "Well, I told you don't take her." She's like, "No, no, she didn't ask." She was just like, "Aisha, take me to the wig shop." And I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm going to the wig shop now." So, yeah, she bought all the orange juice. She she does. Yeah. But in her defense, it tastes amazing.
Yes.
It tastes amazing.
Yes,
So
we do have amazing, lovely, delightful produce here.
I try
And
really hard. This was something I did today. I try really hard to only buy California olive oil. trying to support our American farmers who grow fruits and vegetables
Absolutely.
to continue to grow fruits and vegetables. And if you get a chance to visit some of these olive groves, like in Northern California, that's really where a lot of them are. And I think there's some in Malibu as well.
Mhm.
Um, it's amazing. It just tastes amazing. And so I'm like, yeah, this is where I'm gonna. I'm willing to spend my money to support American farmers to continue to do this amazing work and to continue
Absolutely.
and try and feed people fruits and vegetables. 'Cause people don't eat fruits and vegetables.
So, what would you say your weekly win is? Obviously, it would not be any kind of farmer's market or
No,
produce, Boston produce. Um,
I would say my weekly win is that I'm actually enjoying a few days off in a row. This is
yay!
day 4 of 5 off in a row. Um, there was a 3-day weekend, and then I'd worked last weekend, so I took Tuesday and Wednesday off as,
Mhm.
kind of an exchange for working on Saturdays and Sunday because I mix my schedule is mixed administrative and clinical.
Right.
And, I just got to a point, and this is where I was saying a little bit earlier, I may be in a better place. I got to a really not good place
Mhm.
about a month or so ago. Just really very short with everybody. I just felt like I was kind of snapping at everyone, like constantly on edge, just not
Mhm.
myself. And I was able to pinpoint the problem is that since this epidemic, I have had, or pandemic, excuse me, I have had little to no alone time.
Mm.
So before this, there were parts of my week or day that alone time was somewhat built in, right? So the
Mhm.
kids would go to daycare, and if I took the day off, I would have those X hours
Mhm.
to myself,
Right.
you know. And they weren't home. They are at home, right? Tomorrow's going to
Mhm.
be first day in school, attempting to do that. But they, at home for 6, 7 months,
Mhm.
and then you go to work and I'm with
Mhm.
people. And I started realizing that the only time I was alone was in my car.
Yeah.
Um, and that I was not actually alone because that would be the time that I could like make phone calls to, the bank, the whatever thing you're trying to finish up, or phone calls to my parents because my kids are at the phase of life that if you're not like giving them unadulterated attention, they're going to try and get your attention from whatever you're doing. So when
Mhm.
I get on the phone, oh, my kids are like, oh, now it's time for me to act crazy. Not even in the car was my alone time.
Yeah.
Um, and I started like listening to books in the car to try and just find like a moment of respite in anything.
Mhm.
Or I would take a walk. I'd be like, I'll take this next meeting because now most of our meetings are web based. So
Mhm.
I'll take the next meeting outside. And I just like put in my headphones and use the app and kind of walk around the hospital. But yeah, I was just not. I was, I was not dealing well with it. And to come to that realization that I needed some time to myself, and giving certain things up. Like I still get up pretty early in the morning, um, with the idea that every morning I'm like, I'll do like a mile on the treadmill or do something. But it ends up being like either putting away laundry or doing a chart that I didn't do before that
Mhm.
don't want to get I'm very caught up on discharge summary. So I'm trying to keep that
Good
abreast
job.
or like, paying a bill or just like doing something
Mhm.
that was not me centered at like 4:35 in the morning. And then, I'm at work by 7 on some days, 8 on other days.
Mhm.
Um, our childcare was difficult. She wasn't the most reliable person, so there'd be days that I'm dressed to go to work and, get a text message like, just kidding, I'm not coming in today. And then my whole life has to like change. And then you start wondering, like, am I being seen as unprofessional? And
Mm-hmm.
it was just a lot of things. And so we moved certain things around. We were able to secure much more consistent, higher quality childcare in the home. I, kind of just gave up the ghost on certain things and was like, I guess, laundry will have to pile up to a critical mass. And then guess what? It's a family event. Everybody sit down and put some laundry away. It's not going to be mom at 5 a.m.
Yes.
And trying to recenter. I will say this. I am very, very blessed to have a culture like my boss and my boss's boss actively take time off and encourage people to take time off.
That is awesome.
And part of the issue has been like, A, there's really been nowhere to go. B, time off would just be like me at home with the kids. Is this really time off? And
Mm-hmm.
then when we secured our second person who was doing childcare in the home, who, like I said, was much more high quality and much more
Mm-hmm.
reliable, I didn't want to mess up her schedule with these kids. Like, there was one day that I like had an appointment. I came back in the middle of the day, and I mean, like, she had timers on. She was like, "You have 5 more minutes to do this," and they were like, "Yes, ma'am." And then, they like, yeah, they listen to her. They don't listen to
All
me.
right. All right. Yeah.
She
Don't mess that up.
potty trained the youngest one. She was just like,
What?
she's like, "We're gonna do this." I was like, "Okay, I will do that. What do you want me to do?" She's, and so I didn't really want to be at home because I didn't want to mess up that interaction with them
Right. Right.
because um I felt that it was I actually redid a whole room in the house to make it into like a playroom and classroom area.
Mm-hmm.
Like bought like a big green round table and did a lot of things to make it a workspace for them
Mm-hmm.
because it, the learning can't stop. You need them to continue to be educated.
Right.
Um, and there are many things that Monique Nugent is. A preschool teacher is
Teacher, you are not.
not one of them.
No.
No, I am a mother, daughter. I am a lover. I am a writer. Right?
But
I'm
you
a
are not.
foodie.
But you're not a
I
preschool
am
teacher.
not a preschool teacher. I am not. And just seeing how she interacts with them, the language that she uses with them, the expectations that they rise to, has been another reason why I've been out of the house
Yeah.
because I'm trying to set this rhythm to their day
Mm-hmm.
that hasn't, because everything's been up in the air. With COVID, we didn't really have. And now this person came in and like she got us all in line and set expectations and reading to the children in French. And I'm legit, when I leave, they're like, "Bon voyage, mama." And I'm like, "Oh, you're so cute. And you speak
That
French. This is great." You know?
we have actually been doing a little bit of language stuff with Z, and it's hilarious because I realized that come on Z, like telling her come on, is so close
Mhm.
to allons, allons-y, allons.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
so we've just been doing allons-y, allons.
Yeah.
And instead of saying water, she'll say oh,
Oh.
like
Uh-huh.
so.
Yeah.
Just
So it's good. It's
yeah,
good to get that. And
yeah,
and I just, yeah. So I'm hoping that school doesn't close down on day 4. Um
yeah.
I have a lot more faith about the little kids, and we can talk about this when we go into our where are we now in the pandemic. But I have a lot more
Yeah.
faith in the little kids than I do in the 20-year-olds who touch each other's body parts and lick each other's faces at Northeastern University, as was done not too long ago. They like kicked a
Yes.
bunch of them off campus. Like,
Yes.
you know, um, so what I'm hoping is that we get back into a rhythm.
Mhm.
I will say that having somebody come to the home and I don't have to make lunches and like fight socks on at 5 a.m.
Yes.
or whatever was a godsend. And I will miss that. But we'll get back into a rhythm. they'll meet
Mhm.
other kids, there'll be expectations from a different adult.
Mhm.
Um, because all of this has really driven home to me that remote learning, A, is not for small children.
Yeah.
No, you cannot remote learn kindergarten. I
Yeah.
don't particularly care what people say. My child, who's not kindergarten age yet, I
Mhm.
can't plunk her down in front of a computer and be like, pay attention to this,
And
interact with
ex
this.
and expect them to do that for 4 hours at a time.
Yeah, not gonna happen. So it's not for this age group. I don't, and I truly don't even think it's for kindergarten. I know some
Mhm.
kindergartens are remote, um, but that's just my feeling on it.
Mhm.
Um, but B, remote learning is not homeschooling.
That's
They're
truth.
two very different things.
Yes.
Um, and that C, the decision to homeschool, um, is not one that I have made. Like
Fair.
I'm not there.
Mhm.
I don't think I have the infrastructure to homeschool. I think I could homeschool at a very different age.
Mhm.
I saw some TikTok of some, high school student unboxing her biology curriculum,
Uh-huh.
and one thing, and there was a fetal pig,
Oh,
and
wow.
she's like, "Oh my goodness," and I feel like, yeah, if
I
my
could do
kid was
that.
like, "I could do that," yeah,
Yeah.
let's do a fetal pig. You got that's a lung, that's a
Mhm.
spleen. Let's talk about this.
Mhm.
But I I tried to teach my eldest how to read the word hot, and it came out "hoot" because like, I'm trying to break down the phonics,
Uh-huh.
you know? So I'm like, "H is" she's like,
Huh.
"Okay." O is "oh" or "ooh." She's like, "Ooh." I'm like, "T is" she's like, "Oot,
Oot. Yes.
oot." And I'm like, "Hot, hoot." I'm like, "Hot, hot, hoot." Okay. And then apple, it was a puppily, and I was like,
Oh.
right? I don't have this skill set,
Right.
and I think that I were if I were to decide to homeschool at this age, it would have to be, like, a decision that would incorporate a lot of teaching for me.
Yourself, right.
Like, someone would have to teach me how
Mhm.
to do this, you know,
Yeah.
and so because we are not today a homeschooling family,
Mhm.
and because I do not believe that remote learning will work for my child's age group,
Mhm.
I needed somebody to come in and do that teaching.
Yeah. How many are in your Montessori school? How many
So there
families?
yeah, so 10 families.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm guessing teachers wearing a mask, but not the kids?
The
Or no one's
kids,
wearing a mask?
so we are to send masks, we are to send
Okay.
them masked, but
Okay.
if they take their mask off during the day, the teacher said that they will not, like,
Reapply.
be reapply or be punitive, or, like,
Mhm.
I have like, my youngest is 2.5, like,
Mhm.
I've just my brother is much better. His daughter's a little bit younger than mine, and she's very, very good at wearing the mask. And mine is just getting used to it now.
Mhm.
She can just keep it on for like 3 to 5 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
You know, and I like I don't want to have to think about them being punished
Yeah, absolutely.
for that at this age.
Absolutely. Well, and it's they shouldn't be, honestly, at this age.
Yeah,
I mean, they're 2. Like, they can barely keep their shoes on. I mean,
right,
you know?
right.
Moreover, a mask, like, yeah, you know?
So yeah, so I have a lot of feels
Yeah.
about it. But the biggest one is hopeful. Honestly,
Well, that's
I
good.
am hopeful that this will work out. But also very excited because um, kiddo number one, like last week, sat down as I was putting my scrubs on,
Mhm.
started crying. It's not fair. You get to go to work and see your friends, and I have to stay here.
Oh,
I want to go to school. You know,
yeah.
and it's yeah, they're social creatures like everyone else. I mean, like we got a play set, but nobody else can come to the
Yeah,
play
what's your
set. They
place
had like
at? Yeah.
they had one friend come over a couple weeks ago, and the three of them ran around, had a great time, and the next morning they woke up and were asking for him.
Oh.
And my brother and his family came
Hmm.
last weekend, and it's the same thing. Where's my cousin? Is my cousin coming back? They're just
So weird that your brother has a family, but that's beside the point.
oh, they both do now.
So weird.
I know. They're all grown up.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, I'm 40.
Yeah, I know. So am I in theory. So
Yeah.
when my patients believe it, then it'll be exciting.
I will say
So
this: COVID robbed me and you of any kind of 40th
truth.
bash. So
Mm-hmm.
if it next, spring 2021, we're able to
Mm-hmm.
do something else, I'm planning on having a party called I Am 40 before I turn 41.
41. Nice.
It's just gonna it's your 40th birthday? Oh, I am
No,
40.
I'm 40. Yeah, I am 40.
I am 40. And that'll be good. So how
So
about you?
yeah. So my win is probably slightly sadder. Because my win is over this 3-day weekend, I sat down and found another British competition show that I enjoy, which is Glow Up on Netflix.
Oh,
I'm very slow to the game, very, very slow to the game. One of my friends was like, you should check it out. And I was like, makeup, but it is really beautiful artistry. I love me a British competition show. They're so like cordial and kind to each other.
yes. So you watched British Bake Off, right?
Yes, I
You
did.
remember Nadia
Yes.
won? She has her own
Mhm.
show on Netflix now.
Oh, is it that Nadia? I don't think I
It's
realized.
it is that Nadia,
Oh,
and I
I didn't
love it.
realize that.
I love it's all these like shortcut how to and she's all
Yeah.
British about it, and she's like, "We're gonna have some tinned potatoes," and I was like, "Probably shouldn't eat canned potatoes. That sounds very high in sodium." Was like my
Yeah.
first thought process, and then after she made it, I was like, "That looks tasty," but I'm gonna go back to my whole first concern about your sodium intake there, Ms. Nadia.
But yeah, I'll have to check that out. So I've been enjoying, that whole just camaraderie and competition kind of makes me feel better about life and human beings in general. Um like I'm definitely in a slightly more stressed period. You know, it's nice to be work in multiple places because like right now the clinic is stressed. Like
Mhm.
my patients are stressed. They're like, when is this going to end? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe in a year or two. Um, my like my MAs are stressed, our nurses are stressed, our front staff is stressed, like everyone in the clinic is stressed.
Mhm.
And then I did a night shift a couple weeks ago, and you know what? Everyone in the hospital is stressed too.
Yeah.
And it was the nice part about living in multiple, being a full spectrum doc is that I can be like, okay, this is not one slice of my life. It is literally everyone is sitting in the same boat. We're all in this situation trying to navigate it together as people who are trying to be healthcare supporters
Mhm.
and healthcare providers, and we don't have answers. And as one of the memes go through, just because you're done with COVID doesn't mean COVID's done with you. um
Yeah.
so um I will say that is the highlight. The good point is just understanding that we're all stressed, and for that, um I think my both the hospital that I work at and the clinic has started to kind of understand, like, people are going to need to take time and plan time and be able to take time away from the constant patient care. So I
Yeah.
would say that has been a little bit of the highlight. The low light is just the stress. The world is
Mhm.
terrible. There's lots of, in my family, there's some illness, non COVID illness, but illness. And
Mhm.
there's been some deaths in my family as
I'm
well.
so sorry.
And it's just a high stress time. And then, racism and politics and
Mhm.
elections and, the other general
Yeah.
terribleness of the world.
Oh God.
So,
I
um,
stop. I like. I can't. I can't.
mhm. And that is fair. For every person who can't, I think that is a very reasonable option. And yeah, I that's
Yeah.
totally fair right now.
I read a while ago about empathy fatigue
Mhm.
and like the trauma associated with all of these things that we're seeing and you know and yeah, it just got to a point where it was like a while ago for me where I was like, this is getting very hard on me in lots of ways. So it was actually Ferguson.
Mm.
Ferguson, that was real that really took a lot out of me, and I
Mhm.
that was the first time I signed off of social media and
Mhm.
said, literally, like, put something up that, like, I'm, like, only watching videos of cats and reading recipes from now on, so I am done.
Mhm.
Um, and I've had to take some of those breaks over and over,
Yeah.
and there are things I will not watch.
Oh, yeah.
There are things I will not participate in,
Mhm.
um, because it's not healthy for me.
Mhm.
And in the end, I have to survive this, and I have to help my kids survive this, whatever this is, wherever
Yeah.
this goes.
Yeah, I definitely stopped watching I'll actually say I think Tamir Rice was the last video I
Mhm.
watched.
Never seen it.
Yeah.
Can't. I will not
Um
watch a child die.
yeah, and so I think that was the last video I watched. And then, you know, I'll admit it. I watched The Daily Show. I love The Daily Show. I watched
Oh,
Last Week Tonight. I love
yeah.
Last Week Tonight. And that is and the podcast Yo Is This Racist. That's pretty much where I get all my political news from right now. That's it.
I'm still in the recipes and cat videos portion
That's
of life.
fair.
Yeah. So I just signed up for Milk Street. I told you I love Milk Street, but I got the
Mhm.
cookbooks and Epicurious, and I was like, maybe I
Yes.
will start my own sourdough colony.
Starter.
Maybe I will.
Yeah.
Maybe give those out for Christmas. Maybe I won't. But
So
I'll tell you the one thing that I am enjoying about this pandemic,
what?
no more kids' birthday parties.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Lord have mercy.
You know what? The one thing I'm enjoying about this pandemic, so I only have one clinic, one primary care clinic in the clinic, and my other two clinics are from home. You know how much easier it is to just go feed a baby than it is to pump? Dude, I am loving the fact that I can just, you know, jump off, throw a baby on a nipple, jump back in to my home clinics. I don't have to leave the house. I have to be professional from the waist up.
Hmm.
It is that part. My inbox is mostly clean. You know,
I don't have to
it's
buy a bunch of birthday parties and go from birthday party to birthday party. Your whole weekend when you have a kid in preschool or daycare can be just shot on birthday parties. And these birthday parties, they're like each one's trying to like up the other one.
mm,
Like the last one I went to, they had life-size Star Trooper balloons. It was like it was Star Wars themed, and you can get a human-sized Star
like
Trooper.
yeah,
Stormtrooper, sorry.
stormtrooper.
Um, yeah, can you tell I've still never seen any of the
I know. I
films?
was like, we can tell the one who hasn't seen any of the movies. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, "Wow, really?" And then, like, my daughter's like, "Am I gonna have a birthday party here, mommy?" I was like, "Yeah." And then COVID came, and I was like, "Whew, I don't have to go to these birthday parties anymore." And we did hers on Zoom, and she loved it. She had a great time, and she
That's
got her
awesome.
own donut. She just wanted a donut. She didn't even want a cake. I was like, "You don't even want a cake? Well, I'm gonna get you a nice donut." We got her a
Nice.
good donut, and she, we got an inflatable pool, and she had a great time. Yeah.
That's
So
nice.
yeah, it's the pandemic has brought out like my inner. It's made my inner like introvert more
Mhm.
acceptable.
Yes.
So,
It's
like
made everyone's inner introvert more
not having
acceptable.
to go to Target, I'm like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, they will just bring it to the car." I don't or, now everybody I don't really talk to anybody because all the internet websites for customer service all have the chat boxes.
Yes.
Can I tell you how much I love a chat box? I am so calm and, like, not stressed and polite on a chat box. You can just in the corner, in the
Mhm.
little dots, do, 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 just that they're thinking, and I'm doing something else. They come back and I'm like, "Oh, order number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Send." And I go back to, "Oh, I love a chat box." Instead of me being on the phone being like, "Can I speak to your manager? Can I,"
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know,
Truth.
it's
Yes.
just chat box it. It's great, you know?
So, how are things in your hospital?
So I will say, I think US hospitals are in 2 or 3 very different places.
Mhm.
You have those of us who are in the Northeast who have undergone, survived, and, the worst of it a while ago, and are preparing for a resurgence.
Absolutely.
And then you have
And co-infection with
and
flu.
right, Cohen. Yes, yes, please get your flu shot. I don't wanna hear
Yes.
any of this, "I never get the flu." You know what else you never get? COVID, because it's new. Stop it. Go get your flu
Yep.
shot.
Get your flu shot.
Um, so yes, we have those institutions. Then you have institutions who in, like, the Midwest and certain parts of the Southwest are in it.
Yes.
Right? I think I just heard yesterday that Iowa is actually pretty bad now.
Mm.
Um, and the unfortunate thing, I don't think people realize what happened during the bigger shutdown. Um,
Mhm.
a lot of these institutions were quite short-sighted and decided to mess with people's money and either laid off
Yeah.
physicians, nurses, physician assistants, nurse practitioners,
Farm techs.
farm techs, or respiratory why would you ever lay off a respiratory therapist in this thing? I don't even know. But they went after providers. Um,
Mhm.
and then guess what? Those same institutions are now overrun.
Yeah.
And this is where healthcare providers are very much taken advantage of. That they are expected to do the right thing despite the institutions who are supporting them not doing the right thing. And so I
Correct.
actually get very upset when I see people say like, "Oh, I'm going to go volunteer in fill in the blank hospital,"
Mhm.
because those hospitals can pay you,
Yes. They can pay you.
and this is the United States. There really should be
And
no
they
reason
should.
for. Yeah, they should,
They
but
should be
they
paying you.
play on the better sides of healthcare professionals, and you see people, very lovely people, very loving people, sacrificing their time themselves. Several people have gotten sick. People fly all around the nation, volunteering at hospitals where those hospitals should have been prepared, appropriately staffing up. And that does not mean, when I say that, it doesn't mean you just say like we need 5 nurses and we get 5 nurses. Like you will expect that certain number of people will get sick. You will
Mhm.
expect that people will need to be out, time burnt. I'm sorry, will be burnt out and need time off, or their kid will fall down and break
Mhm.
their leg. Like other things in life will also occur. And so how do you prepare for that? It doesn't mean that if you need 7 nurses all the time, you always have 7 nurses. But it does
Mhm.
mean that if you are down to 5, how will you function on those 5 instead of just being like, "Guess what? You got 5 people today."
Right.
And so those institutions are in those places. And then I think you have another set of institutions that are, this is maybe starting to ramp up for them. I don't, and I don't know how you're still surprised by anything. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there is a fourth institution because there is I think because here in California we got hit so quickly, um, a lot of I'm in a rural hospital, and so we pretty much prepared pretty hardcore at the beginning, and then never got the huge surge, but kind of
Mhm.
have this continuous indolent like
Mm.
that like okay, you get the bump after Memorial Day, and then you kind of comes back down, and you get the bump after this, and the 4th of July, and just where, you know, we never get totally spent, thankfully, but it's never over either. We never come to a full lull because it's
Yeah.
always it's just wave after
And
wave after wave.
then the thing that is going on at the same time, and this is something that people really need to realize, is people still getting sick. People still getting hit by cars.
Yes.
People still having MIs. People still having, mental health issues. Someone's still going to get a urinary tract infection. Horrible other medical things are still happening at the same
Happening.
time.
Yeah.
And the amount of resources necessary to take care of a COVID patient are very large. But then
Mhm.
the amount of resources necessary to make sure everybody else is safe
Right.
is also very large. And I will say I'm very proud of my institution for the amount of work that they've done, and the people who are in charge are very, very bright and very, very dedicated to this.
Mhm.
Um, I've had more discussions about cycle thresholds and like fit testing than
Yeah.
I thought I would ever have in my life in med school. I thought like cycle threshold was like, oh, okay, I know this for my microbiology course on this test. This is not me. Like now I'm like, well, what
Mhm.
was the cycle threshold?
Yes.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, fit testing was something you did to do a rotation. But
Versus
now,
something yeah.
yeah, and it's like, how do you get fit tested? When different
Mhm.
masks run low, and how do
Right.
and so um, I'm very impressed with the people I work with, and I hope that the hospitals across the nation have people who are just as dedicated as my staff.
So
Is.
fit testing, in case for folks who don't even know what that means, is literally for N95s, they have to be fit. So you have to actually get the right size of N95 to wear in order to see patients. You can't just put on any old N95 and roll out. So um,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
as we are coming to a bit of a close because it's just a shorty. It probably wasn't actually that short, but um, but it is Z's bedtime, and um, I think the last few things I want to leave people with talking about this pandemic is yes, one, get your flu shot. Two, wear your mask. Three, you know, as for the school situation, I think, we are both privileged in the fact that I have a stay at home husband who can, who chose to stay at home and take care of my child and support me in that way. And you can get into like this really small family Montessori school, but I really understand all the difficulties of trying to figure out
Oh
what
gosh.
is best for you and your family, be that distance learning, be that pod schooling, be that homeschooling,
I
be
don't
that
know how people do it, Marguerite. I don't. I've the longer this goes on, it's the more I realize that the everyday survival of common American people is feat of pure like acrobatic,
Yeah.
just guts and blood,
Yeah.
because you know people who have jobs who can't miss out unless they lose an hour of pay, and
Exactly.
their kids are my kids' age. What
Mhm.
goodness gracious are they doing, and how are they functioning? You know,
I have no idea.
I like, I have, and again, you've used the word privilege. I have a lot of privilege, that I have a lot of very well connected and very well educated friends on education, who I can turn to and say, like, "How do I navigate this?" And they can just sit
Mhm.
down and give me a game plan, and that is not
Mm.
something a lot of people have, and even with that, I am very much, like, biting my fingernails, you
Yeah.
know? So shout out to everybody out there
Everybody.
who's doing it, because how whatever it looks like,
Mhm.
it's amazing. Like, I'm not someone who puts up Instagram, quotes and tells you how great you are. It's, but I'm gonna do it now. If you Whatever you're doing, eh, that allows you to function to whatever capacity you need to, you're doing it, and it's amazing, because right now it's very difficult.
The person who also deals with substance abuse folks every week, um, would like to put a caveat on that, um, to whatever you are doing, that can maintain your physical and mental health. Um, so those people who are like, I just use meth to get through my daily chores.
Well, well, I mean, like,
Maybe
just a little bit of meth.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no to the little bit of meth.
See,
Little bit of meth.
that's why you're the doctor.
I'm gonna say no to a little bit of meth.
Yeah.
Say no to the, 2 bottles of wine.
Yes,
Um,
that's true. I do know, and I'm sorry if I was joking there a little bit, but I do know that, our fellow Americans and people who are suffering, or
Absolutely.
dealing with, substance issues, this has been very, very difficult. This has been
This is
so much more difficult, right? Like,
the mental
talk
health
about.
stuff, the addiction stuff, like that, all of that. When you're sitting at home having to face yourself day in, day out, that is what causes this. When you can't go to your support groups, when you can't go and have, you know, go and have, go into work because you were furloughed, when you can't do all those other things, is what kind of brings all that into resurgence. So, you know, definitely know you're not alone. Um, and, definitely, you know, realize that there are resources out there for you. Um, it's not going to be the same. And that's the other thing I kind of keep trying to encourage people to remember is that, yes, this is different. It probably will be different. I don't think we're ever to go back to being the same, but that's also okay. That is also okay.
Excuse me.
Salud. All
Thank
right.
you.
And on that note, I'm going to go put a small 19-month-old person in the bed. Um, Dr. Mo's Best is on Twitter.
Yeah,
Um,
don't tweet at me because I forgot the password, so let me get on that.
don't tweet at Monique because she has forgotten the password.
I don't know what
Um,
I did. It's not working. So let me
and
next time we talk, I would have fixed my Twitter.
mine is, I believe, Marguerite Margrette underscore or Dr. Marguerite. Either way, honestly, just throw us an email at tireddoctorstalking@gmail.com. That's going to be the best way to get to us. Um, and otherwise, y'all have a good day. Stay safe and stay healthy. And we'll try to give another one of these not 6 months from now, like sooner than that.
Yes, sooner.